endless prompts to download the app for a better experience. These kingdoms are not meant to work with Google search. Google's rise to popularity was in an era where the web looked like this. And while Google surely evolved over the years, its core structure has remained the same. A list of links on a page. Something that was built for the internet that no longer exists. There are still wild lands outside the kingdom of big platforms. But what is out there is not what it used to be. Because these lands have been taken over by the devious machine of SEO. As Google and search engines started to get billions of visits, it didn't take long for businesses to realize that having your website come up in a search result was the ultimate marketing move. Instead of paying for advertising, you're getting people that are already looking for something in your niche for absolutely free. And so how do you make this happen? How do you get to the top? Well, you write articles based exactly on what people are looking for. You stuff the most optimized keywords into these articles, and you try to reference your product or service as much as possible. Publish, rinse, and repeat. SEO has evolved from making sure your website has the right title and description to companies churning out millions of articles with the sole purpose of getting a spot into specific keywords results. So much so that today, the global market for SEO services is valued at $50 billion. Over the last 20 years, the SEO machine has become so efficient that now you can just hire specialized writers with absolutely no knowledge of your subject, but that can write content so efficiently and cheaply that it's just a no-brainer. And since very recently, you don't even need people to do this. You want to see how much time it takes me to write an article complete with images using AI? Most search results today are simply trash. It's the same set of regurgitated information that has been either fed into an AI or researched by a low-paid contractor. And people looking to create quality content or have interesting discussions are fleeing. And all of this information is either outside the reach of Google, such as Discord servers, which are private, or it's simply not made to be discovered by a search engine. But among all these kingdoms, there is one where internet users have retreated in droves. And this is the one that is changing Google search the most: Reddit. Who's the biggest competitor of Google search? Microsoft Bing or some privacy-based alternatives like DuckDuckGo? But Google's largest competitor today is actually Reddit. As a traditional independent web dried up under the SEO and content machine, users found a home on Reddit. And in the process, they unknowingly built the world's largest repository of user-generated, quality and valuable information on any imaginable topic. But at the same time, Reddit allowed its content to be fully accessible by the crawlers that power search engines like Google. And the people took notice. There's evidence from hundreds, if not thousands of people that are complaining that the only way they're able to find anything on Google today is by appending Reddit to the end of their search. And while Google searches for Instagram, Facebook or Snapchat have peaked with the platform's growth, Google searches for Reddit have only been growing steadily and without a sign of stopping for the last 15 years. And they have accelerated even more in the last 2. And while to many people this might look like just a bunch of nerds on the internet finding information in an alternative matter, this is actually much more than that. When we think of globally successful products, the ones that we use every day, they all started by solving a very specific problem for a very specific set of people. And then they expanded from there, reaching the mainstream. The first GoPro started as a way for the founder and his friends to take some photos while surfing. The first version of Facebook started as a way to connect people at Harvard. In the late 90s, when Google was born, most of internet users were nerds. Engineers, thinkers, creatives, they liked the minimal design and the PageRank algorithm, which was much better than competitors at the time. And so they decided, yeah, Google is the one. And everyone else tagged along. These people are the early adopters, the ones that represent the first group of users for any big product. And these same people are getting fed up with. Among these people are tech influencers, entrepreneurs, and venture capitalists, and they are eager to start the next Google or to throw money at what could become the next big dog of the internet. And while tech crowds are building the next successor to Google, The younger generation has already found it. In July, the senior vice president of Google Search said in an interview that almost 40% of young people, Gen Z, when they're looking for a place for lunch, for example, or for many basic searches, they don't go to Google anymore. They go to TikTok or Instagram. While Google and basically all the other search engines have stayed true to the model of a list of links on a page, the rest of the web was evolving. First with images and now with video. The internet today is simply more visual than ever, and this is simply not gonna cut it anymore. I tried using TikTok for a week to search for basic things around me, and it's been great. For example, when trying to find new things to do in my city, where Google was giving me this list of the same regurgitated top 10s. On TikTok I could see videos of famous attractions but also very obscure and not well-known places. Now, Google owns YouTube. They are one of the key players in AI. They own the biggest search engine of them all. And so why aren't they connecting the dots and making bold, innovative moves with Google Search? Well, because despite everything that we talked about, Google Search is making more money than ever. $200 billion. This is how much Google made from advertising last year. But if you look deeper, things do not look as rosy for Google. The way we can calculate how much money a product makes is by multiplying the total potential market, so how many people will potentially use your product, your market share, so how many people have you actually convinced to use your product, and the revenue that you generate per each individual user. Let's start with the potential market, which in our case is the total number of internet users. But as we reach 5 billion internet users, most of the world is already using the web. And so while this number is still growing, the pace of this growth is slowing down, as connecting the remaining people in remote or less developed areas will be progressively more difficult. So now let's look at market share. How many of these billions of internet users actually use Google? And this is where the company has a complete dominion, as they control over 90% of all online searches. And to achieve this number, they built a great product, yes, but they also leveraged on the power of default. Default bias is the tendency that we all have in trusting the default option we are given. And this is also one of the main reasons why Google built Chrome and Android. While they don't make money directly from Chrome or Android, having control on which browser or mobile operating system people use allows them to set Google as the default search engine. Sundar Pichai, which is the current CEO of Google, in 2007 was working as a product manager for the Google toolbar, and he saw the importance of being the default option. And that's how he convinced Google's co-founders to create their own browser, which turned out to be Google Chrome. Today, however, Google has to pay a hefty price for keeping its default status. Each year, Google negotiates an agreement with Apple to be the default browser on all iOS and macOS devices. And this doesn't come cheap, as estimates put the 2021 agreement to be around $15 billion. And this might not even last that long. Apple has been hiring search engineers in the last years, and they have been testing on some iOS and Mac searches their own search engine. And if they simply launch it and put it as a default option for all Apple devices, this means Google's market share can plummet by 20 or 30% in a single day. And finally, on the third factor, which is the revenue per user. This is where the company has decided to turn up the dial to the max in the last years. And it's showing. While sponsored links were limited to 2 or 3 per search, in some cases that now take up the entire first part of the screen. And this is not only happening on search. Here on YouTube, you will surely have noticed that the amount of ads before and during each video has gone up. But with any ad-based product, there is only so much you can turn up this dial. Because the more you increase the number of ads on a product, the more frustrating the experience becomes from users. And if you push things too far, people will simply break the habit of using your product and go with the next best option. And so, now what? Well, for the first time since the internet has entered our homes, the old juggernaut that is Google is starting to lose its footing on what made it great: search. And this can be the golden opportunity for new companies to jump into a market that was previously inaccessible and start up once again the search engine wars. On one side we have Google, and despite everything that we've seen today, they are still undoubtedly at the top, and their growth is only starting to slow, so they still have time to react before it's too late. What they have been working on, and they think is the future of search, is multi-input search, combining text with information from the real world. And this will be especially useful for the next generation of devices like AR glasses. But also in the last years, we've seen a renaissance of Google alternatives, more privacy-based, but also with different functionality and a different way to interpret search results altogether. The search wars of the 2000s ended up with Google winning. But in the 2020s, things might be very different. If this video reaches 1,000 likes, I will start working on a sequel, focusing on the upcoming search engine wars of the 2020s. And in the meantime, here's another video that you might enjoy.
The new gimbals from DJI are here. We have the RS3 and RS3 Pro. And we have some exciting new accessories, such as this wireless monitor. We have a follow focus system and even a sensor that can give you autofocus on all your manual lenses. We're gonna test these gimbals to the limits by creating an adventure film, so stay tuned. Last year we bought the previous version, the DJI RS2 gimbal, since it was one of the smoothest gimbals on the market and it fitted the Steadicam system Tilta Float, which we already had.
Det kult å se på.
And with the Sony A1 camera, this became our new favorite setup. We actually ended up using this in 5 productions for clients in the beginning of 2022. Because we have autofocus on the Sony A1, but I'm using the wireless down here, as you can see, this wheel, to zoom in when I need to, zoom back when I have wide angles. It's a very flexible setup. Then DJI sent us the new RS3 and the RS3 Pro to test them out and make a video, and Mathias was the first one at the office to test them out.
Ja, kult. Det endret, det sånn knapp her. What? What?
Let's have a closer look at what the new gimbals offer. Both the RS3 and the RS3 Pro have improved their stabilization algorithms, which is supposed to give you smoother shots. They both also feature a larger 1.8-inch OLED touchscreen and a very neat way to lock the whole setup with one press of a button. And they also have a new physical switch for different shooting modes. So what is even better with the Pro version?
I am RS3 Pro. Professional.
The RS3 Pro handles cameras up to 4.5 kilos, while the RS3 handles cameras up to 3 kilos. The RS3 Pro also has more accessories. Actually, all the accessories you can get for the Pro version is overwhelming. And in our eyes, the most interesting accessories was the new wireless transmitter and the new wireless monitor. You can mount the transmitter under the camera plate on the gimbal, which is very convenient. And you can power it from the gimbal itself. And then you have the monitor, which receives the video signal from the transmitter. And on the monitor, you can get handles to adjust the focus and control the gimbal. You can change the battery mounts, so you can choose to use only Sony batteries instead of their DJI batteries. You can even fully control Sony cameras with this monitor. That's awesome since we already have the Sony A1. You also have the LiDAR camera accessory, which measures distances in front of the camera and sends the signal to the follow focus, so you can have autofocus on all lenses. I've never seen something like this before. It's awesome. And the gimbal has so many features that I could use a whole hour just explaining about it. But we don't have time. Let's just start shooting with this gimbal. Matthias had already decided to use it for a couple of new projects for clients, with the simplest setup.
You gonna run?
Yeah.
Cool. Ser smooth ut da, Mathias.
Så veldig smooth.
And this is the RS3 Pro, again without any stability.
Ser smooth ut da, Mathias.
Så veldig smooth.
And this is the RS3 Pro, again without any stabilization added in post. What's great about having someone to sponsor a YouTube video is that we can use some time to create some scenes with the gear. And right now, my friend and actor Jonathan and I, we are working on a film project called Cloud Mountain, and we thought, let's shoot some scenes with this gimbal and see what it's capable of. As usual, we didn't have much time, and as the locations are really important for adventure films, we had to start scouting.
Yes.
So this was just a spontaneous trip to find a location. We thought, let's just do it.
But I think it's in this direction. We only have 1 hour to do this, so we have to jog. Det er så kult det her, så du kunne rulle liksom ned, eller ikke rulle ned da. Du måtte løpe ned der.
Looking like two idiots.
If you want to brainstorm, find your colleague or a friend, just do some jogging in the forest.
Her må man fake litt for å unngå turisme. Det er skilt.
Oh my god.
People started looking strange at us, wondering what we were doing. But luckily we have a camera, so people know we were filming something. Even though we just randomly found this place on Google Maps, it was great. I have to admit that we shaped the script a little bit to fit the locations we found, but I don't think that is a problem as long as you're able to tell your story. So we were happy and it was time to shoot. Okay, getting ready for the shoot. We're gonna bring with us the DJI RS3 Pro. I bet you're gonna use a lot of power because we have the video transmitter, we have the wireless focus system, and the setup is quite heavy. So an extra battery for that. I even brought a huge power bank in case we need to charge the RS3 while we are shooting. And of course the DJI video transmitter, the screen. We're gonna bring it. We'll see if we're gonna pull focus on this one, but maybe. We can also adjust the gimbal. So this is interesting. This is gonna be exciting.
Ja.
Hva tycker du?
Oh, nice.
So I went for your pants and
My
your
shirt.
shirt.
This is some old bed sheets I had laying around.
Yeah, I just made them dirty, so
Nice.
and I'm gonna let my hair out as well.
Yeah,
We're gonna-
nice.
And I'm gonna get dirty. I'm gonna get real dirty. So, the plan for today. He wakes up in a field of flowers. And I don't want to spoil too much here. Här har vi lite färgteman och sånt vi ska gå efter. Den har
Det är ganska likt den här.
Ja. Relativt.
So this is quite a challenging shot. We're gonna like go from the ground up, backwards, around this thing, and up this small little, what do you call it? I don't know, up there, and then turn around. It's complicated, so it's gonna really test the gimbal now. And I have to have a motivation to walk up there.
Yeah.
Because or else it will look strange. Because when you look up, I can move backwards like that's the motivation for the camera to go up.
I feel you.
Okay, sorry DJI, we just went straight for the craziest and most shaky shots. But I think the gimbal gave us the feel and look we were looking for.
Men det är nice, man ser till med benen komma.
One really nice feature is that Marius could control the tilt and pan of the gimbal while he looked at the monitor, because I couldn't see the monitor in some of the angles. I couldn't watch the monitor on the camera. So then Marius could like fine adjust the framing. It was perfect. Ooh, yeah. First scene done. How much is the clock? Too much? Okay, we have 4 more scenes. It was so much fun, so we maybe used too much time here, but we got some nice shots.
Bare væske. Det er ingen fast føde.
Are you gonna eat?
Yeah, I'm gonna eat.
As he wakes, his body hurts, he's dirty. As he comes more to life, he scouts the area above the flowers. POV, surveillance camera in tree. He exits the field of flowers.
We had a certain idea on how to shoot each scene, since we had been location scouting. But we did also improvise a bit on set. Discussing the shots with friends is always fun. And of course it's fun to see your friends hit each other to get in the right mood.
Så ja, tack. What is this?
last shot now. Oh, we finished with the most advanced scenes. It's 10 o'clock in the evening and still it's very bright. This is very, I don't know.
Scandinavian.
Very Scandinavian, yes.
At least this time of year.
So far, you know, I really like the lock, the button to lock of the whole system. Whenever you want to balance it a little bit because you're zoomed out or zoom in, you can lock it. Then you can unlock just the one you want to adjust. Like now, I want to put on the ND filter on the lens. I'll just press one button, it locks. This, press the button again, and ready to shoot. So far, very good. Now we just need to go home and look at the material on our big screen. Because it looks smooth on this screen, but will it look smooth on the big screen?
Let's shoot the final scene and get out of here. I want to eat.
Med beina også. Så bra. Good job. Prøva. Woo! Let's go home.
Okay, so that was one evening shoot with the DJI RS3 Pro. Now let's look at the final edit.
What is this? You smell me.
So the scenes you just saw is for our work in progress film called Cloud Mountain. And in one of our previous videos, we shot some other scenes for the film up in the cold and snowy mountains in Norway. Yeah, so this film is coming along piece by piece. You can check out the other scenes by pressing the card appearing now or wait to the end of the video. If you want to invest in this film and help us finish up the film, don't hesitate to contact us through views.no. Record, Oh yeah. So, what to say? Well, so far we're super happy with the setup. We managed to shoot a lot of scenes in just a couple of hours, thanks to the practical setup with the wireless monitor and that you can control the gimbal and focus from the monitor as well. So that's great. So the RS3 and RS3 Pro do have some neat features. But if you want to save some money, you can always buy the RS2. It's still super smooth, so I do recommend it. You can go to probably a secondhand store and buy it quite cheap. And you can also use the RS2 batteries on this one. So if you want to upgrade in the future, you can always use the battery here. If you want to buy this one, you can go to the link in the description. And we are going to make more videos about this gimbal, so stay tuned in the future. And yeah, I'll see you again soon. Ha det bra!
Wouldn't it be more economical if we can get our own views car?
Oi, oi, oi.
I was ready to turn this thing into a film production car. Okay, now to activate the editing station, we lift up this. We have the MSI laptop set 16 creator.
So I suggested that we should go to the mountains with the van and shoot something interesting.
I spent the whole night writing a script.
Wow, this is gonna be so awesome.
Tomorrow morning, we were gonna go up and film in the mountains.
So it was day 2 of our shoot in the mountains, and today we're going to shoot a lot of stuff outside during daytime. So we had to hurry up and start shooting.
We're ready.
We carried a lot of equipment, and as the snow was quite deep, it took a while to climb the mountain, and we had to stop every few hundred meters because we were so tired.
How's it going, Matthias?
Oh, it's going great. I'm not tired at all. It's not even that far, but I'm like tapped of energy already. No, but it's gonna be really cool when I get to the top. Hopefully, I haven't seen it, but I hope that there's like a nice view and it's gonna be a cool scene.
So we decided to shoot some stuff while we were resting to be more efficient.
Og vær så god! Takk! Kult! Det var nice!
Unfortunately, we had some problems with the sound equipment because of the colds. So I just had to do the best I could on sets and do some Foleys when we came back to the cabin.
It was so cold at the top of the mountain. It was windy, it was foggy, and the lenses it was starting to create ice on the lenses, both the behind the scenes and the main camera we had.
Tuppen der. Kamera går rundt. Vi får close-up. Ansiktet. Han tar av masken og ser utover. Okay, klar.
For the gimbal shots, we use the Sony A1 on the Phaotech gimbal. Usually I'm not a fan of gimbals. You have to rig them up a lot to be able to control focus wirelessly, and yeah, it becomes a mess, and then it becomes really heavy, and it's only like meant for one hand, so it's a hard time to deal with it. But this actually turned out great because we used it with the Sony A1 with autofocus, and yeah, it actually worked out great.
You know it's cold when you don't feel your fingers and your toes anymore. My boots, they started leaking. I didn't sleep for 2 nights because of, I have twins at home, and their sinuses were blocked, so they couldn't breathe while they slept. So I didn't get any sleep. My wife ordered Indian food. The day before, my stomach was burning the morning I woke up. Also, I had the 3rd shot of the vaccine, so I was starting to feel nauseous. I had a headache going on, and I started to cold sweat. But it helps the character. It does. En till! Make your character feel pain. He's gotta live that pain.
Okay, Matthias, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going great. Yeah, we're getting some really nice shots. When you have a really good location and costumes, and the actor looks really good in the part, so all of those combined makes it look really professional right away.
That's true.
Yeah.
Sånn. Det også litt lenger ned. Der. Sånn.
We didn't manage to do the drone shots, but I think we have some really nice shots actually. Okay, I'm looking forward to look at them at the cabin, see what we got.
Anders, you hold up the line.
It's always so nice when you have a good day of shoot. You come back home, you warm yourself, you get something to eat, and you're happy with the day and you look at the footage.
A big thanks to MSI for making this trip possible by sponsoring this video. And as we showed in the previous episode, their Z16 creator laptop is a perfect fit for our van because it's both thin and light, yet extremely powerful.
I think the battery is very good, so we can look at a lot of the stuff and also color grade and do that things inside the cabin.
Even footage from our high-end up to 8K resolution cameras were no problem for the Z16. It was so nice being able to review the footage before continuing shooting the next day. Our favorite thing about this laptop is definitely the screen. It is a 16:10 aspect ratio, which is a must if you're gonna edit video on your laptop, as it gives more space for your timeline. The display is what MSI calls True Pixel, which means that it has great color accuracy with a factory calibration of less than Delta 2. And of course, it has a touchscreen.
Very soon MSI is launching the new version of the laptop, which is even faster. So stay tuned on that. I think it's coming around a month or so.
Jasper told me we will have.
Good morning. Or god morgen, as we say in Norwegian.
I'm so tired.
This morning, before we went to the new location, I focused on getting Foley's matching the shots we did the day before. You could always find sound effects and Foleys on pages like Epidemic Sound, which we use as well, but no doubt the best results you get from recording on set with the right costume and environment.
In addition to sound effects, we also use music from Epidemic Sound in this series actually. You can test out Epidemic Sound for free for 30 days. There's a link in the description.
Okay, so it's time to shoot at the old cabin.
It's not very easy to find the perfect locations for a film, especially when you live 3 hours away. Luckily, I have some relatives in Valdres who I called and talked with about the locations beforehand. They knew the area, so they picked out some suggestions for us, like the old cabin.
Det er veldig lenge siden det har bodd folk. Og der nede på huset.
Supposedly there's a cabin here, but I don't know where we're going now. This is a really cool and cinematic cabin, wow.
So we made sure to check the cabin the day before, do a location scout, and yeah, just to make sure what lights we could bring and how the blocking would be and etc.
And it's just perfect. It's like, looks like someone has actually made this for us, for the scene. This cabin was abandoned many years ago, and it's been looking like this since then. So it was like perfect for the story.
A lot of magazines from 1971.
Yeah. Whoa! I just managed to step through the floor actually, and there's the axe next to my feet.
We wanted to try to do a long take, so we actually did a test shoot, me and Anders, the day before on the location scout, just to see if it would work, and yeah, worked out great.
And I found the owner of the old cabin. I called her and asked about shooting there, and that was okay. Use your connections and don't be afraid to call and ask for permission, because you know the worst answer you can get is a no. So a huge thanks to Christina, Nikolai, Mikael and Kari Britt as well. Jonathan's idea was that we had some claw marks on the door into the cabin. And we weren't sure whether we should have that, but I just called the owner of the cabin and asked if he could do that. I reckon that we would get a no. But she said, no problem, just do that.
Varsågod.
Okay, so inside the cabin, it was pretty cinematic lighting, I would say. There were like windows, having soft light coming in from the sides.
It was interesting to see how we didn't need a lot of light to create the whole scene inside there. We just used some Godox light tubes to light up some small parts of the cabin.
Nå! Bra.
This is actually the first proper shoot we do with the new Mavic 3. So it will be nice to test it out, shoot some ProRes.
I wanted to shoot much longer, but I could just see that Jonathan was freezing so much, or maybe it's just a good actor, I don't know. But we had to fly back, unfortunately, but I still think we got some good shots.
That was some intense shit.
Guys, it's a wrap.
Standing outside in a winter landscape, editing 4K material, color grading outside, that's a special feeling. So doing that behind the van, that was just incredible. It's not something I never experienced before. Almost like you're standing outside in the snow looking at the cinema. In the snow, it feels so strange. But yeah, we have the screen here, we have the MSI laptop where we can play back and do color grading and editing connected to the screen. This is nice. This is something unique I haven't seen before. You know, this was a test shoot and it works so well. And I think for bigger productions where maybe you are doing a week of shoot, maybe live editing inside the van while we're shooting outside the van. So this van, this production van, will give us so many opportunities in the future. I'm so looking forward to that. I'm so happy.
We ended up getting some real good footage. One of my favorite moments was actually where he pulls. I'm not gonna spoil too much here, so check out the final product when it airs. This epic fantasy, mystery, horror, adventure, drama, short, legendary film.
We're not sure yet when the film will be released as a whole, like a standalone film, or if it's going to be like a kind of a trailer or pilot, we'll see. So just stay tuned on our social media to get updates and subscribe, of course, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Ha det bra. This is so nerdy, but it's fun as well. Okay. Since I was 12 years old, I made probably over 500 films for clients, for YouTube, for everything. And I always used a still lens when shooting the films. And the client has been happy, I've been happy, but there's a thing called cine lenses. This is a little bit more expensive, it has some other features. Is it a good investment to have this instead of this? So, Maike, they sent us the full kit of the full frame lenses they have. And we wanted to test them out and actually shoot a commercial with lenses and see if this is a good investment for our production company. Actually, there was one YouTube channel where a guy was reviewing the Maike lenses, and he's like all the time like, "Oh, it's so nice to turn and twist the focus ring."
Yeah.
So we have high expectations.
Yeah, this sets like very high expectations.
Okay, let's
actually,
keep it down. It's okay. Yeah, vi vinner då.
Yeah.
This is so nerdy, but it's fun as well. Okay. Oh, fizzer. I got chills, you know? It's crazy. And the resistance.
How good can it be?
Wow.
Maybe you should let Matthias touch it as well.
Yeah. Sorry. But now I think you kind of, you know it's good.
I have really high expectations. I expected a little more resistance actually, but it's like really smooth.
Yeah.
But yeah, this has actually less resistance.
Yes.
But this sound, when it stops, it's really nice. Like ASMR.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks
So,
good.
Yeah, here's the
Looks
kit.
really nice.
And we're gonna use it for some shoots. So coming up, we are shooting a whole commercial with the micro lenses to see if they are any good and if they can compete against my Sigma 80-35mm lens.
So the Mikey lenses are full-frame Cineprimes, and we got the kit that includes 24, 35, 50, 85 and 105mm focal lengths. So the good thing about Cine lenses is that it's really practical because you have focus gears and also you have gears on the aperture. All the lenses are the exact same size and they also weigh pretty much the same. So if you're using it on a gimbal, for example, it's really easy to swap lenses without having to rebalance all the time. Okay, so let's just bring him out for a test. So we wanted to film someone ice skate, but the problem is I'm very bad at it. And Morten was going to film, so that only left us with Juni Maria, our editor. And
oh, you're gonna try?
Yeah, let's just say that when she stepped on the ice, something unexpected happened.
Oh, even backwards. It's like no warm up. Okay, I read it.
What the
So much. She's actually pretty good.
To be honest, I'm not really sure why the guys are so surprised that I can skate. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it to them before, but yeah.
So for the gimbal we used the Feotech Scorp Pro and I actually tried to fit our C300 Mark III on there and it worked fine. But I kind of like the Sony A1 and I also wanted to do a full rig. So instead of having like a bare bones C300, I went with an A1 with the wireless follow focus, with a wireless transmitter and with the macro lenses of course. And I think that was a super nice setup.